Coming up on Look Today, well, we've got an update on the High Rock parking lot in Saratoga. I've got details. And the World Awareness Children's Museum hosts the Biz for Kids breakfast. And we've got multiple reports from the police about scam artists posing as IRS officials in our region. I've got details. And it's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson and this is Look Today. Well, in tonight's program I sit down with actress, writer and director Mary Jane Hansen to talk about the upcoming presentation of the Vagina Monologues at the National Museum of Dance. And I also sit down with Marie and Peter Ballet to talk about the life and works of Peter's father, Jan Ballet. Plus, we have your weather for the Tri-North counties, but first we've got these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, we've got an update on the High Rock parking lot. The proposals on construction are still being debated. City Center President Mark Baker attended the special City Council meeting last month in February to discuss the City Center's proposals as well as designs from other teams. Now, part of the City Center's proposal then included a pedestrian connector from the parking lot to the center. Well, recently, some have interpreted that the proposed designs from Paramount Realty Group and Hyman Hemispheric are a direct challenge to the City Center's endorsed plan. Well, neither of the designs included the features the City Center was looking for. The City Center will present its designs at the next City Council meeting. We'll keep you up to date on that story as it develops. In other news, the World Awareness Children's Museum hosted the Biz for Kids breakfast at the Queensbury Hotel in Glens Falls this morning. Now, the goal of the first annual meeting is to obtain recommendations from local businesses to help increase awareness for the museum. Well, participating organizations received a complimentary one-year business supporter membership to the museum. Now, this new membership will help promote business and spread awareness for that very valuable museum. Now, the museum, by the way, is a nonprofit organization designed for children to educate them about the diverse world that we live in. And we spoke to that director, Heather Hecklin.
We're excited to welcome the business community at our first annual Biz for Kids breakfast so that we can begin working with business partners to learn from them and grow the reputation of the Children's Museum and grow awareness of the great resource we have here in Glens Falls.
Now, as many of you know, Heather is a frequent guest here on Look Today, and we're real fans of supporting that museum. Well, switching from news to weather, we saw some slight snowfall this morning with temperatures staying in the low 30s. Now that also stayed with us throughout the afternoon. So for a more detailed look at the weather, we're going to head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast. And back to the news. Well, here's a story you're going to want to pay attention to. We've been getting reports, there have been multiple reports, recently of scam artists posing as representatives of the Internal Revenue Service. Now, the sheriff's offices from all the counties that we serve have all gotten complaints about these fraudulent calls. Now, as the income tax season comes to a close, the calls are either demanding payment or tricking people into giving out personal information. Please be on the lookout for this, and as we get any additional information, I'll be sure to pass it on to you. Well, in other news, you might remember this story. The two men that damaged the native dancer statue in Congress Park in Saratoga have pleaded guilty to a reduced misdemeanor charge. Julia Simmons and Kenneth Martin were both caught jumping on the horse and rocking it loose in the early hours of the morning. They were originally charged with second-degree criminal mischief. Now, that's a felony, which could have landed them in jail for 7 years. However, they will pay up to $3,000 in fines and do 250 hours of community service. Now, because they also hold engineering degrees, they have agreed to help design new security features, you got it, for Centennial Park. Up next, I sit down with actress Mary Jane Hanson, and she's here to talk about the upcoming presentation of the Vagina Monologues at the National Museum of Dance in Saratoga. Plus, I also sit down with Marie and Peter Ballet to talk about the life and work of Peter's father, artist Jan Ballet. And there's an upcoming lecture at Crandall Library in Glens Falls that you're going to want to see. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, or how about join us for an interview? Give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000.